Today at the G7, President Trump said the Iran war is, quote, in the rear view, and he is moving on to Russia and Ukraine. Watch this.
Russia should make a deal. Russia's lost tremendous amounts of people, and so has Ukraine. It has no impact on us, other than we sell weapons. We're thousands of miles away. But the only reason I don't like to see 25,000 young people die every month. Every month, 25,000 people die. Young people, they're just starting their life. They go to this front and they get blown up. And Ukraine is losing a lot of people too. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous.
He has spoken with Presidents Putin and Zelensky, and of course, Zelensky is at this G7. Also, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law, who does not have an official role in the government, Jared Kushner, they're expected in Moscow soon, according to a Russian presidential aide. I want to bring in Michael McFaul, former U.S. ambassador to Russia and MS Now international affairs analyst. Ambassador, we need you on that. We need you on this one today. Specifically, what do you make of the fact that the president's top negotiators, and we can argue whether they're the right negotiators or not, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, are moving right on from Iran to Ukraine and Russia when the deals of the Iran agreement have not even been released?
Well, first, Steph, great honor to be on your show, your new show. I can get up in the morning just as long as I can stay up at night. So very honored to be here. Second, pretty surprising because this memorandum of understanding, from what we learned from the vice president, is only a page and a half long. It's a ceasefire agreement at best. It doesn't deal with any of the hard issues that President Trump promised that he was going to resolve. He promised he was going to make Iran nuclear free, including getting rid of the enriched uranium. He promised that we would have controls on their missile defense production. He promised he would end support for terrorism. And he promised the Iranian people that they would be free. Those are some pretty big negotiating points left that I think are going to be really difficult to achieve. Most certainly, the top negotiators for Iran should be focused on that. But I do think it's a positive sign that they're at least re-engaging. I liked what the president said. I disagree with him, by the way, when he says we don't have any interest in this. Of course we have an interest in this. This is a fight between a dictator and a democracy. This is a fight against annexation. And the United States has national interest in preventing annexation and supporting democracy and freedom. That said, though, the way he talks about that Russia needs to do a deal, that's encouraging. He just needs a strategy to help try to achieve it.
Okay, but here's the thing. Let's just talk about how diplomacy works. So Witkoff and Jared are headed to Russia. At the same time, Zelensky is at the G7. He's having meetings on the sidelines, even extending an invitation to meet with Putin. So if he's making progress in France, what are these boys doing in Russia?
That's a great question. The whole setup, again, I want to applaud the president for trying to end the war. I also agree with them that they need to talk to the Russians. But after that, you just don't see a strategy for ending the war in place. They've given away their best cards, right? The president likes to talk about cards. Well, they gave their two best ones, denying Ukraine membership in NATO and ending U.S. assistance, military assistance to Ukraine, and they got nothing from Putin in return. Number two, the structure, as you just pointed out, is chaotic. That these guys fly to Moscow all the time. Neither of them have ever been to Kiev, by the way. Henry Kissinger famously coined this term shuttle diplomacy. They're just shuttling to Moscow, not to Kiev. And number three, I would just iterate, thinking about the Iran nuclear deal that our administration, the Obama administration did, thinking about the arms control agreement that we did with the Russians back in 2010, there was this interagency team that engaged in the details. You had people from the Pentagon, people from the intelligence community, State Department involved, and it was a tedious process, and it took years and years to get deals done. You just don't see that structure in place here. And therefore, I'm not very optimistic that they're going to achieve results.
Okay, then I want to stay in the I'm not optimistic or potentially I'm not buying it category when it comes to what we're really doing. Because yesterday, a Russian attack destroyed a historic cathedral in Ukraine. Is it not surprising, given the Trump administration has been vocal about defending Christianity and Western culture that we have not really heard any kind of strong condemnation from around this.
It's appalling. It's appalling to me. I mean, you know, all of these folks that say Putin's a good Christian, he's a fighter for the Christian world. Some Americans were just over there recently talking about what a great Christian he is. To them not to denounce this is appalling. And it just makes us look like we don't care about values. We don't care about the things we say. And I think that's a big mistake. This is also a moment of desperation. I think that's important to understand, too. Putin is losing on the battlefield. He is losing. Yes, both are losing soldiers, but the Russians are losing more. Second, the Ukrainians now are striking deep into their lines of supplies. That's something new. And third, we're seeing more and more deep strikes into Russia that I predict are going to increase in the fall because of new ballistic missiles that the Ukrainians are supporting. So when he's losing on the battlefield, he has to turn to terrorism against civilians, including this horrific terrorist attack.
Ambassador, thank you so much. Thank you for your expertise. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.